Hi, you've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Saturday. Here's 92L in the eastern Caribbean. You can see a lot of thunderstorms blowing up with it this morning as ventilation starts to get a little bit better than it was yesterday in the eastern Caribbean. And it would be nice to know where the real center of this is. It's a little hard to tell exactly where it is, but I still like the idea that this is going to come in to the triangle between Jamaica, Cuba, and Haiti, and then probably come and turn west across the Gulf of Mexico, likely threatening northern Mexico, although only slight changes in track could have this trying to threaten Texas as well. We got a big ridge over here which is going to be hard to bust, which is why this will likely come west and probably threaten Mexico more than anyone, but the West Gulf Coast should be watching this, as well as the Caribbean islands. This will be a gradual developer over the next few days, not explosive, but you know, the waters in here are really warm, and so once it gets into this area, this is going to be something to watch very closely. Here we have Tropical Storm Igor over here in the eastern Atlantic. This is not a hurricane yet. It's trying to develop an eye feature, but convection is waning this morning due to a little bit of dry air that has finally found its way into the circulation, and this will probably take until tonight to attain hurricane status because it needs time to rebuild its core. We see this over here taking off to the north, and so we start thinking, oh, around this high this is going to start recurving out to the north over here. Not quite though, because we notice this still heading west, and these inverted troughs and big tropical waves that can get out in front of hurricanes are sometimes notorious for building high pressures behind them and keeping the hurricane steered west for longer than the models might think. So this is going to be continuing west and towards the northern Antilles Islands, but north of them during the course of the next several days. And here's the African shot, and this is just really pretty from a meteorological perspective. Here we have yet another wave spinning and coming off Africa and likely going to develop into yet another Cape Verde hurricane. This is going to be either Julia or Carl, depending on whether 92L gets named first. The Hurricane Center already has this hatched orange, and that's a good call based on the model support and the way this looks already coming off the continent. So this is probably going to develop right behind Igor over here. Now, we look at the European ensembles for day 8, I believe this is, and we're looking at Igor over here, the operational run, which you can't see on here, but at this time, the operational run has Igor recurved up here near the Canadian Maritimes very rapidly, but look at all its ensemble members further south, still keeping Igor over the southwest Atlantic, and this is an incredible disagreement between the operational run and the rest of the ensemble members who all still have Igor hanging around in here, and this is why I think Igor will have a chance to come farther west, is that the models are a little too fast on recurving him. He'll probably try to come farther west, and again, because of the inverted trough thing, this will probably try to stay south for a little longer than the models think, and this is the kind of storm that could again threaten Bermuda more than anyone else. They've been dodging a lot of bullets over here, but this is something that they might have to deal with. The interesting thing is, if we look at the GFS to give us an idea of the evolution of this pattern, we notice this is day 7 to day 8. See this big polar vortex diving into Canada over here, and then you look farther back and you see this big amplified ridge, blocking ridge over Alaska. Now this is not the middle of winter. The cold air isn't going to get delivered right into the eastern seaboard. The wavelengths are shorter than that because it is still the summer, not quite into the fall yet. And so this ridge over here means that the trough is going to be trying to dig in here, and imagine if this comes in and they phase and you get more of a trough in here, you pump the heights in here, and then you might get the hurricane to come farther west. If we go out to day 9, you can see that you get more of a trough here, and the trough starts to lift out in the east with more ridging building, and you can see the heights rising over here. Now the model has the storm already recurved over here near the Canadian Maritimes, but you can see the height lines sagging in here, and you can see the model hinting, and you wonder, what if the storm was still somewhere back over here and the heights are building over here? You can see room for it to come farther west, perhaps threatening Bermuda over here, or perhaps another in close call west of 70 west like Earl was just a little bit ago. It could be a repeat of that. So you start to wonder, what if some of these things happen? Well, we have a what if model today to look at, and this is the Japanese model. Day 6, 500 millibar. Notice the big ridge over Alaska over here, polar vortex coming down into Canada, and the other models, most of the other models have Hurricane Igor up here by this time, but the Japanese says no, it's farther back. So here's the what if. What if the hurricane is still sitting farther back and hasn't recurved as far north yet? So if we watch what happens over here, here's the hurricane, alright? We go out to day 8, and oh man, this is nasty. Here's Igor, and look at what happens. Look at this. The ridge over here. This is a straight shot to the southeast. I mean, look at what the model did. You had the blocking over Alaska. You brought down the polar vortex. You dug it in, and what you did is you forced the central U.S. ridge that was sitting down here to extend and connect northeastward to the Atlantic ridge, and then look what's sitting underneath, coming west northwest. I mean, this is, if you wanted to sit down and draw a pattern that could get a hurricane to come into the southeastern United States, this is what you would draw. Big trough coming in, ridge having to connect to the Atlantic ridge, and this comes west northwest. Just a textbook pattern. And you know, this is an outlier model, but it is, and I still think that with the MJO and Octant 4, it favors more troughing into the eastern, into the eastern seaboard. It favors more troughing in this area of the world, so I still think this is most likely to recurve east of the United States. But this is an interesting situation to watch for. Just keep an eye on his track to see how he's doing when he reaches 60 west, and see if he's coming south of all the points and the models like Earl was, to see if he gets in closer to the coast. And Bermuda may especially have to watch this. So this is something that's rather scary looking, but we'll just keep an eye out for it. This is day 15 on the GFS ensembles, and I'm showing you this because I'm showing you the pattern reversal that happens, and this is something that we may be seeing more of in the winter time, is this big trough over Alaska, and we're going to have a nasty winter up here, I'm telling you what. But before the winter comes, what this is doing is we get the strong jet in the Pacific, you raise the heights over southeast Canada and the northeastern U.S., and this is a pattern that says watch out below in the southwest Atlantic basin, and now we're seeing stuff like this show up on the GFS operational run day 16. Big hurricane in here, big high pressure over the top. This is really nasty. This is day 16. I'm not saying that there's going to be a big old hurricane over Cuba in 16 days, but I am saying that the model has a message that's trying to get across. It shows you a pattern like this, and this has been very consistent on the ensemble runs. Shows you a pattern like this. You say as a meteorologist, watch below over here. You see this stuff, the model is hinting at what can happen. Might not, but it might. So you watch for it to see if it does. And that's exactly what I will be doing, is watching, and we shall see what happens. That is it for today. Thanks for watching.